Okay, welcome back to American Agenda. For a while now, I've been wanting to talk about the word progressive when it's applied to American politics. Something about it just seems off, like maybe you could label policy and ideologies with a word like progressive, which has a positive connotation, and trick a bunch of people, especially young people, to think real progress is somehow being made. And what do you know, right on cue last week, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman from my home state gave me a jumping off point. He wants nothing to do with the label anymore. He rejects it. Let's listen.
I want to ask you personally about your own sort of journey, as the kids say. Some progressives have criticized you for being a different senator than you suggested you would be when you were a candidate for Senate. What do you say to that?
Well, I wasn't. I was very clear for saying that for years I'm not a progressive, and I just identified myself as just a regular Democrat. So it really wasn't any new news. Now, 8 years ago, I was a progressive, but the situation's changed, and I've been very clear that I didn't leave that label. That label left me.
Well, not only has the label left him, I think it's left millions of people across the country, but where did it go? There's an interesting read on this that came out in the New York Times last week, written by David Brooks, no relation to me, to no surprise. Here's where he says the label progressive went in his article titled "The Sins of the Educated Class." He wrote, "The center of progressive energy moved from the working class to the universities, and not to just any universities, but the elite universities." Shocker of the year. I mean, look at what the elite universities, now the epicenters of progressive think, turned into at the end of the academic year. What was progressive about anything that we saw? Pro-Hamas terrorist rallies, taking over buildings and parts of campuses, threatening the lives of Jewish students and defacing the statue of George Washington on GW's campus, protesters trying to silence those who spoke out against them. These were all intimidation tactics, but it was also bullying and criminal behavior in some cases. How did any of that possibly contribute to the word progress? But it goes beyond just that. It's the American way of life in general and the elite progressives being taught our country, our great country, that it all needs to be torn down. And when you see what's going on at the colleges and at the border and inflation and DEI curriculum in schools and in workplaces, honestly, that's exactly what it looks like to me. It looks like exactly what Brooks talked about in his article. He wrote, "Like a lot of people, I've looked on with a kind of dismay as elite university dynamics have spread across national life and politics, making America worse in all sorts of ways." He also goes on, "Society pours hundreds of thousands of dollars into elite students, gives them the most prestigious launching pads fathomable, and they're often the ones talking most loudly about burning the whole system down." And he's right. It's very ironic. The students who have been given the most by our system, technically set up for the best futures, wind up seeming to hate our country the most. And make no mistake about it, someone is teaching them to think this way. They're college kids. They're impressionable. But they're also the future of this country. Someone is guiding them. And when you take a step back and you think about how you would convince a bunch of people, especially young people who haven't fully developed yet, to go along with ideologies that are really anti-American, how would you do it? You tell them it's something good and righteous. You tell them it's all in the name of progress, but really it's not. And who says that the change you're fighting for is actually good change? I think there's a big difference.